So I have a two-part question. One, because you just brought up one of my ones was the difference in buying a house compared to buying land, right? Like buying
Mhm.
lot. Do you see that it like I guess for our culture, we don't know anything about that, right? Because we look at it and there's nothing there, so we kind of automatically kind of assume what's the point of buying that when
Mhm.
clearly the expansion is going to happen. Now it's not going to happen maybe 3-5 years, but 10 years later, somebody might want to put a strip mall on that, and they're gonna have to come to you and pay you out for your square footage that you own, in order for them to have that.
Right.
Do you like how, I guess the one question is, how do we transition to that as far as the education of buying land compared to like a property? And then do you have a story of walking into somebody's house and you just turning around because like it just didn't, because every real like Donna, my realtor, again, we were getting ready to go look at a house and we opened the door and she saw like the front little area. She was like, "Nah, we're
Yes.
going in there." And it was just one of those moments where I feel like every realtor had that moment with their client. And I know it's hella funny. So you got to tell me one of those.
I got two of those. I got two. So I'll get to that. That's part B. Buying land, like where I live now, there's some land right across the street from my house. And I think further out. I think future. I'm like, this is hot. I'm a mile from the DC line. Only thing the land, costs $600,000. I'm like, I'm not working with that right now, but I'm doing well, but I'm like, I'm not working with that just yet. Um, a lot of people just don't look further out. They don't look at the investment of it. A lot of people want right now, today, what can I get right now? If we just have to think like, what will this be one day? Like I said, I saw what happened in DC, and who would have known that DC would have gone from the crack era in the 80s and 90s to $1 million condos today. Like, we never would have thought that 20, 30, I'm not 40 years old, but 40 years ago. Like,
I
we
miss
wouldn't
that
have seen
era.
it. Yeah. DC came up. Like, it's just something that we would, and people do talk about it. There are several types of investment groups in the area. A lot of them were, in person, but now have transitioned to being more online. That was a big plan that I had last year, to go to a lot of those investment meetings. Not just being a realtor, like wanting to put money into the community, wanting to invest on my own. I hope that people can see that. And there are even like investment groups where, okay, you might not have the 600,000 by yourself, but can you go into it with 3-4 other people? Let's say it sells for 1.2 million. Everybody put in 150 at first, and then you're getting 300 out of it. So there are so many different ways to go about it. I don't know. Like, if you own a house, you're probably getting those texts and calls. Hey, we're interested in buying your house. Yep. I get them every day. So
you can never catch those assholes because it goes straight to voicemail.
Right. But two quick short stories. I was looking for an investment property in Baltimore about 4 years ago. Wasn't a realtor yet, so I was working with a great realtor in that area. We go to a house, we're knocking on the door, nobody's in there. She gets the key out of the lockbox. We're trying to get into the house. The door is unlocked. We can barely open it. So we're like pushing on the door, banging on the door. We're like, all right, something's blocking the door. We start to go around to the backside. I said, we're in Baltimore. There's a guy that runs out of the back door across the street into an alley. We're like, nah, this house is off. We're not doing that. I'm not going into a house to get a squatter. I'm not doing that. Just a couple of months ago in Prince George's County, I'm taking a buyer to a house, and it just started, like, the deal was just too good to be true. I'm like, the house costs how much? We go to the house. It just started off bad, and I'm not kidding. There was a pink donut in the front yard, like a donut with sprinkles, Krispy Kreme in the front yard. I'm like, okay, that's not good. We go in the house.
That's an interesting lawn ornament.
It's like the Simpsons joint. We go in the house. It's an awful smell. There's diapers on the floor. I'm like, I don't think your family wants to do this one. Like, so I don't know whatever happened to that one.